I found myself sitting down. You know this is going to be a really serious video essay. So, a while ago, I shot and partially edited a video, which was going to be titled, Are Marvel Movies Cinema? You can probably guess what this was going to be about. It was going to be about Martin Scorsese's comments, but it was going to go beyond that and talk about the phenomenon of Marvel movies and superhero movies, what their worth is, and why so many people are disinterested in them, and how they've affected the culture, and stuff like that. As I was editing it, though, I started to not like it, not like the finished result that was coming together. I was a little too mean-spirited to some people in that video. Grace Randolph, if I've offended you, I don't care, f*** you. And the other problematic thing was I came to the conclusion that Marvel movies were indeed not cinema or not art, and I really wanted to backtrack that. First and foremost, let me say I'm not a Marvel fan or a fan of superhero movies, really. I'm really not. However, the title of this video is a little misleading. I will not be deciding whether Marvel movies are cinema or not. That is not a fair judgment for anyone to make. It doesn't matter how many movies I've seen or how much of cinema I have studied. The person who has seen the most movies, who has experienced the most art, who knows the most about art, they are not qualified to determine what is art and what is not art. Now, I could go into this big whole cinema cartography video essay where I dissect what art is and what cinema is and how those two are related and connected. I want this video to kind of go beyond that, though, so as much as I would love to do that, I'm not really going to do that. I'm just kind of going to go off the cuff here, talking about what Martin Scorsese said, talking about the culture overall, and maybe try to do a better job than I did last time. So first I want to defend Martin Scorsese. As you should know, anyone who's in the film community should be aware, a comment Martin Scorsese made about in 2019, I believe, where he said, Marvel movies are not cinema. That is what he said. It's taken slightly out of context, not exactly out of context, but, you know, people try to paint him as this old man yelling at a cloud who just doesn't like new things. And that's not really what it was. He does acknowledge that a lot of work goes into making these movies, and there is a lot of talented artists behind these films. I think really all it was just a poor choice of wording. When he said Marvel movies are not cinema, he means Marvel movies are not art. And I mean, cinema is art. And even that's still kind of a problematic statement, saying that they're not art, because, you know, like, then you got to go into what is art. And I kind of already said, you know, just how much I'm really going to go into that. I think on a basic level, anything can be art. You know, if we're going to be generous, anything can be art. If you make chairs for a living, that's art. You're crafting something. You're creating something. There's different kinds of chairs. It makes people happy. You're making people happy. You're making art. But when it comes to real creative modes of art, like painting or writing or filmmaking, of course, things that kind of border on entertainment value rather than necessity, like a chair. Not only are they more entertaining, but they're able to show you new perspectives. They're able to connect with you on a much deeper emotional and cerebral level. And really, that's all Martin Scorsese's concern is. You know, he didn't go on some angry Twitter tirade. He didn't burst into the rooms of IndieWire proclaiming that cinema is dead and we have killed it like some Nietzsche parable. It was in an interview, and someone asked him what he thought of Marvel movies. He said that they're not really his thing, which is fair. And when he said that Marvel movies aren't cinema, he meant more of they're not the cinema that he's used to. Obviously, Marvel movies are movies. They are cinema. They are made with cameras and actors and scripts. But many are saying, how can you say it's not cinema? Because we love cinema more than just for its physical, fundamental qualities. If you love reading, you don't like looking at words on pages. You like the ideas that the words combined cohesively create, and the images and impressions that they give you. I don't like just looking at a screen. I don't like just looking at a flickering film strip. I like the images it creates, the stories, and the ideas it conveys. A stool is a chair, but it's not a good chair. Marty Boy has kind of come up in the news again, which is why I decided to revive this idea for this video. And this time he's been misquoted. What publications I really feel are just trying to make him look bad now. You may have seen the headlines. Martin Scorsese says people should fight Marvel movies and watch Chris Nolan movies instead, or something like that. And a lot of people immediately jumped on, saying how stupid and hypocritical this is, because Christopher Nolan directed arguably the greatest comic book movie that we know of. He directed the Dark Knight trilogy. And yeah, some people are maybe wondering, oh, well, why didn't he say Yorgos Lanthimos, or Ari Aster, or Apichatpong Weerasethakul? I'll get that name down someday. If you actually read the article, though, that's not what Martin Scorsese really said. He said we need to follow artists like Christopher Nolan, and he also mentioned the Safdie brothers, and all throughout his career he has mentioned people like Joanna Hogg, Ari Aster, plenty of people. While Martin Scorsese may have used some poor choice of words, I earnestly and firmly agree with him and his stance. And for anyone watching, I'm not trying to tell you you're wrong for liking Marvel movies or superhero movies, but I want you to understand the problem people have with them. I mean, not just with the films themselves, which I kind of have my gripes with, but with the overall industry. Why, not just Scorsese, but many other directors, many other people in the film community, many people who just love movies, all types of movies, are annoyed and bored of the Marvel films. Let me paint an analogy for you. Let's say you love food. Food is your life. You love all the different recipes you can create. You love all the different seasonings and the different tastes you can create out of all these mixes of dishes. You love food from different cultures and all over the world. You love how it can bring people together. Then one day your friend bursts into your house with a bag and says, I have a new recipe. You've got to try it. They reach into the bag and pull out a rat. A dead rat. Fully intact, got all the fur, ears, tail, everything. Just a dead hunk of rat. Then he dips that rat in a vat of mustard. He covers the thing in mustard and then eats the rat all in one gulp. He eats the mustard-covered rat. And he says, you've got to try it. Because it's a rat covered in mustard, you hate it. Yet the culture goes absolutely nuts over it. People are posting TikToks and Instagrams of their mustard rats before they eat them. Fast food chains are being built selling rats covered in mustard, pushing out the mom and pop restaurants. All the small shops are just going away. When you express your disdain for the disgusting rat covered in mustard and how it is ruining people's tastes and ruining the business of other restaurants, people will ask you, well, why do you dislike it? I thought you loved food. To which you respond, that's not food. Now, I'm not trying to say the Marvel movies are as bad as a rat covered in mustard. No, not even close. I guess I'm just trying to get you into the mindset of critics or people who have critical minds. We're not professional critics, but they watch movies in the same manner. They watch movies for certain things that they like. They find things in movies that most other people don't see. And I understand that not everyone is into movies as much as us movie people. Why people who like art house films, like me, or maybe yourself, dear viewer, are annoyed and bored of these movies. People have long days and hard lives. They want to come home. They want to unwind with a nice, fun movie. They're not going to want to pop in a Bela Tarr film that tells them their life is meaningless. I get it. Yet if you're brave enough to really take that plunge and explore different kind of art forms, it's enlightening and eye-opening. Now, this isn't to say that movies can't be artistic and entertaining. I'm a big fan of things like Avatar: The Last Airbender or The Simpsons. Spider-Man Across the Universe was animated very well. It was a lot of fun. Everything Everywhere All at Once was a huge hit. That was a great action comedy. There's so much creativity in the stunt choreography, in the comedy and writing. Yet it's also a very emotional film. It blends so many different genres of action and comedy, and maybe not drama, but it really dissects our our purpose, our meaning here. The film tries to dilute our fear of death and emptiness, and reminds us that it's the simple things that make life worth living. Of course, it's not just does the movie have a meaning. That's not the only thing that makes it art. I think that is an important component of art that not maybe not every art piece needs, but that is something that makes it important to me. That is why I like watching movies, experimental movies, and foreign movies, because it can help your growth and development when you think about it. And I absolutely love Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan's films aren't the meaning of life, it's just goofy comedy and cool action scenes. But there is so much passion and risk put into his films, big on the risk. He almost died making some of his movies. And that's what makes his film so much more special, is you can really feel that passion he's putting into it. Marvel films, I'm sorry, to me at least, just feel soulless. And maybe that's what art is it made for the benefit of the viewer or even the artist? Not monetary benefit, like emotional, therapeutic benefit. Yes, the Marvel movies make some people happy, but do the producers really care about making you happy? Or did they just pick a random property from some comic book they never read and said, make a movie about that, and tell the director not to do this, to only do that when they make the movie, because we have to appeal to the most common denominator in order to break even at the box office. And yeah, to repeat myself, maybe that's what art is. It's the intention of the artist. It all depends on that. And again, there's nothing wrong with liking Marvel movies. I have met people who have Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker and Avengers Endgame in their top 4, and I love that people like that exist. But more often than not, so many people I run into are just nerds who think that they're movie fans because comic book movies are big right now. Case in point, Grace Randolph. I have been to film school, and I have met people who have never seen a movie outside of their own country. Martin Scorsese, in this new article, talked about the current culture and how they are accepting films. That people are going to think that superhero movies are all that there are. And they even admit in the interview that that's kind of already what it's like, unfortunately. I also saw something years and years ago, back in 1993, after Federico Fellini died. And that was about the culture of people who didn't want to watch foreign movies, and they just wanted to watch the dumb action blockbuster. So another thing to kind of refute against Marty is that, maybe the Marvel movies are just a phase. Before that, we had westerns, we had spy movies, we had the dumb action movies of the 80s and 90s. There have always been idiotic genres, or maybe just bland genres that the masses eat up and they love, or maybe they just don't care, they just want to watch something with their friends and unwind. And something else he didn't really mention is that Marvel movies are kind of dying. More and more people are getting sick of superhero movies. Additionally, I don't think any of the Marvel movies have really been very successful since Endgame. They all haven't been very well received. Except for maybe Spider-Verse. DC is still struggling for a foothold. So I think in a way we are kind of witnessing the end of Marvel movies and superhero movies. And, people are starting to recognize other films. People are starting to see Parasite and Everything Everywhere All at Once. The recent Barbenheimer phenomenon, which, yes, one of those is based on an existing property, but there were some good filmmakers behind it. And that and Oppenheimer were excellent films. And luckily, people were able to go see them and enjoy them. Unless you're Logan Paul, of course. Maybe if they showed the dead Japanese, he would like it. People have argued against Martin Scorsese, like, oh, well, if you want people to watch other movies, then why don't you support movies from around the globe? And my response, as I laugh at them, is he literally has. I talked about this in my Martin Scorsese video. He has a world cinema project which has like 3 branches, I believe. One of them is dedicated strictly to African films. He loves cinema, and he does not want to see his art form die. And that's the problem, is so many people see movies as just entertainment and not art. Like this tweet that I have saved because it is just so embarrassing and so frustrating, of people who refuse to see films as art, which is just insane to me. And yeah, so many of the people who are mad at Marty are these kind of people who really do not know much about movies at all. They've never seen the films of Bergman or Ozu or Fellini. Even American films. They're probably unfamiliar with people like Billy Wilder or Ernst Lubitsch or Howard Hawks or Sidney Lumet. Probably. Like I said, that's not everybody, but so many people I've run into they reveal themselves so easily. Entertainment is fine once in a while. I have a lot of mental issues. I recently had a pretty bad spell where I kind of had to take a break. I had to watch some cartoons. And yeah, that's healthy. That's fine. A film does not have to be depressing to be good. But art should change your perspective. It should give you something to think about. It's not supposed to be disposable and you just turn your brain off, glaze your eyes over for 2 hours. You should walk away with some substance. You should reflect on and think about what you watch. As I've said before, you're either watching the wrong movies or you're watching movies wrong. And I find this tweet so funny because people are trying to defend superhero movies and defend Marvel movies against Martin Scorsese, and they don't even have enough respect for it to call it art. These movies are not artistic to them. I have made a stronger case. I'm not even confidently saying that they are art, but I have made a stronger case for saying that Marvel films are art. Art should help you deal with the real world. It should not be an escape from the real world. The characters of the Avengers are not real or compelling. I can't relate to them. I can't relate to some super soldier on steroids. I can't relate to an Asgardian god. I can't relate to a rich man in a robot suit, Elon Musk basically, who at this point is more of a supervillain. I never get a sense of danger or risk happening. Yes, it's usually the entire world is going to end, that's the conflict, but like that's just so far removed from humanity. And the way the characters handle it too, like I never get a sense of the weight or the worry that they have. The effects are good, yes, and Martin Scorsese even praised the effects. He said that there's a lot of talented effects artists out there who are being underpaid. They're going on strike too, support them. But when there's just this barrage of explosions and flashing lights and just fake-looking rubbery images, it gets so desensitizing. There isn't really any spectacular cinematography or editing choices or anything like that, really. And they all just kind of feel the same, which, I mean, even people who previously liked Marvel movies are kind of admitting they have the same paint-by-numbers formula. They have to be funny, but they can't be too silly. They have to be action thrillers, but they can't be too intense. So it's kind of like this weird bland middle ground that just sort of tries to appeal to everybody, and it doesn't really have an identity of its own. For those of us in the film community who have watched hundreds, maybe even thousands of films, the Marvel movies just don't feel that special to us. They appear to be art, but they don't feel like art. And I know, it's all subjective. Obviously, a lot of people get emotional responses from these movies, and that's fine. Yeah, I mean, I gotta say this, like, if, again, I've already said it, I'm repeating myself, but if you like Marvel movies, you're not stupid, you're not wrong. In fact, I encourage more pedestrian people to watch this channel, or to engage with it. Yes, there are a lot of elitist snobs out there, I've run into plenty of them, who, treat you like an idiot because you haven't seen a certain amount of films or because you like a movie. And I try hard not to be that person. It's more frustrating when people say that they are movie people and like they claim that they have this knowledge of movies, but then they really don't. That's the only thing that gets me. The whole point of this channel is sort of to serve as an introduction to cinema to people who are not familiar with it or trying to get into it. So yeah, I hope that there's a lot of people who are not as into movies that are watching this video and that are watching my channel. If you think I'm just doing the same thing Martin Scorsese is, complaining about it without doing anything, please give a watch to some of my director videos. I have covered, I'm relatively new, I just started, but I have covered Akira Kurosawa, Alfred Hitchcock, Ingmar Bergman, Charlie Chaplin, Federico Fellini. I just did Martin Scorsese. I have a new video coming out soon, which I won't tell you, I won't spoil it. I want to remind people that film is art. It is not just some dumb pastime that people can turn their brains off and only idiots make, and they only make it for idiots. There is some really groundbreaking stuff out there, and I just want people to know that movies are art. It doesn't mean you have to stop liking simpler movies or stop enjoying them. Like I said, I enjoy fun movies from time to time. Movies can be fun and also well made. But I want you to understand, the issue of the industry that Marvel has sort of plagued Hollywood with. The way it has infected people's tastes and the culture. And it goes a little bit deeper than people just not simply liking the movie. It's a much bigger concern for a great art form that has brought people together, that has brought people from all over the globe. It has taken viewers to places. Cinema does things that no other art form can do. And I just hope that you're able to see the same potential in it that I do. I want you to support the good artists. I want you to give your money to good, true artists, not mindless blockbusters. Not just the Marvel. And the Marvel movies aren't the worst in that. I mean, you could be watching Jurassic World or Black Adam. I don't know. Studios and their recent trends of remakes and 30 years later sequels have kind of been dying down. But that still was really affecting the industry. A lot of original projects were not getting picked up. Yes, there are a lot of great directors working right now, but so many of them are putting stuff out through independent companies like A24 and Neon. And big name directors are releasing things through Netflix, including Scorsese. And Netflix is not an independent thing, but it's streaming. It's not in the theaters. And that in a way is kind of spoiling cinema too. There's pros and cons to streaming. I won't get into it now. But yeah, I hope this falls on receptive ears. I hope you listen to this. I hope you come away knowing that Martin Scorsese had no ill intent toward the Marvel movies or the Marvel fans. Follow me on Letterboxd for individual reviews. I'm always making videos. I'm making more short videos lately that are just kind of whatever I feel like putting out, if it's something creative or something serious or something absolutely silly. But this channel will always be focused towards films and film awareness and appreciation, trying to spread awareness that cinema is art, first and foremost. I got another director video coming soon. I'm always working on that. And yeah, I think I'm done here. I need a drink of water. Happy viewing, guys. Explore movies like Anthony Bourdain explored food.